The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, this is Josh Ellsworth with Stahl's Cadcut Direct, and thanks for logging on to our Great Garment Graphics webinar today, which is Back to the Future with Names and Numbers. If you've been staying tuned to the email communications that we put out through Stahl's, you've probably seen over the past couple months some different name-number combinations, and we're going to review a lot of those combinations today and try to inspire you with some new ideas, talk to you about the workflow to create these types of looks, go through what it costs to create these looks, how to sell them, what to sell them for, and at the end we're going to wrap it all up with a special promotion for you for logging on live with us today. Looks like we have a pretty good crowd, so I want to start first by telling you if you have a question anytime throughout the presentation, I have the question box up right in front of me on my screen, so you can just type your question into the question box there through the GoToMeeting software. It'll pop up on my screen, and I'll answer them throughout the presentation as I take breaks. Also, we have some poll questions today, and usually I get these out of the way all at the beginning, but I have 3 different questions, and I will start you off with one, but then we'll kind of disperse the others throughout the presentation as we have time. So while there's still some folks logging on, I'm going to start the first poll question, which is how many jerseys or t-shirt jerseys to decorate in a year. So basically, how many times are you putting names and numbers on some sort of garment throughout the year? So just take your best guesstimate based off of what you do a month, multiply it by 12, and you'll get your year. Give you about 20 more seconds on the poll. 63% have voted. 75% voted. Give you about 10 more seconds. And I'll go ahead and close the poll, and I'll share the results. So it looks like 87% print 2,000 or less jerseys per year, or t-shirts per year, and 10% print between 2,001 to 5,000, and then we have about 3% that print between 5 and 10,000. So we got a pretty good range, with most of us being under 2,000 or less. Okay, excellent. So as we're decorating jerseys and putting name and number combinations onto team uniforms throughout the year, we certainly have a lot of opportunities. These opportunities can be for the organized sports teams, such as baseball, football, soccer, lacrosse, any of those teams, as well as basketball, or they can be for fans. Today we're going to focus on some different looks, some special effect numbering techniques that we believe will take us into the future of names and numbers. If you keep up with sports at all, you notice that all the time jerseys are changing, and this year in the NCAA football alone, about 66% of teams changed their look or their jersey and incorporated some sort of different jersey construction type or numbering style. And a lot of times these are inspired with different special effects, and they translate from the fan to the field. So we'll show you looks throughout the presentation that you can use either for on-field play in some scenarios where they meet requirements, and other looks that will be great for fans or for club or rec leagues. And so with that in mind, let me get into my presentation here. And the first thing I want to talk is about the production workflow for all the looks that we'll see today. All of the looks that we'll see today were created with just a vinyl cutter and a heat press. I know a large percentage of you probably have vinyl cutters already. If you do, that's great. You can source the rolls of materials from Stahl's Cadcut Direct, which is just cadcutdirect.com. And if not, you can order a lot of the materials you'll see today pre-cut from Stahl's, where you don't need to have a vinyl cutter. Just with an account with us, you can order designs pre-cut and just heat press them down to your garment. But the first step is cut the material. In this case, we have our thermofilm material loaded in the Roland GX24 cutter. All the cutting's done with the knife that you see in the picture here. The knife is loaded inside of the blade holder. all your artwork is designed in a vector-based program. So whether that's Corel Draw or Adobe Illustrator, you basically create the art, bring it over into the cut driver software, and send it over to the cutter to cut. We'll talk a little bit about art setup momentarily for two-color designs. In this case, let's go through the workflow. So first, I'm going to start with the black thermofilm. I'm going to cut the portion of my design that requires black. And then in this case, I'm going to combine black thermofilm with a product called 3M Reflective, which poses some interesting features when used in numbering. And so the 3M Reflective material is loaded completely separate from the thermofilm, and that compromises my second color. So I'll send the job over and cut that on the 3M Reflective. After all my name and number combinations are cut across each material, then we complete the weeding process. So here's a simple photo of the weeding process. You can see in my right hand there is Stahl's Easy Weeder, and I'll take that. It looks like a little dental pick, and I'll pull away all the excess material. If you look closely, for those of you that aren't familiar with vinyl cutting, you'll see that there is like a clear plastic-like material here. The number, if you notice, it's a number 12. It's cut in a mirror image. So basically the cutter cuts down through the film, but not through the plastic carrier. The plastic carrier is going to hold all my pieces together for the step when I take it over to the heat press to apply. So I'll weed all of my thermofilm designs, and then I'm going to go ahead and weed the 3M Reflective as well. In this case, I've set it up so the 3M Reflective is my background, and the thermofilm in black is my foreground. You also notice in the bottom of your screen how I cut a name out of the thermofilm foreground. That's going to allow the reflective material to show through the numbers. So that's just a really easy technique to add an interesting effect to a combination. When I position it down, you see how the plastic material is also holding the 3M together. I position it down on my t-shirt or my jersey, and I press that, in the case of 3M, for just a few seconds, and hot peel will release the backing. Every single material that I show you today, if you navigate over to the cadcutdirect.com website and click on that particular product, we'll just click on Airflow as an example. On the product page, you can click on the Tips and Application tab, and it will give you the application at a glance that tells you the time, temperature, and pressure, and how to peel the backing. Basically, this is your recipe card that tells you the exact settings to set up the heat press for. You can also download a PDF and print those out and start a folder for all the various materials so you have a quick reference at your disposal when you're at the heat press. So I heat press the 3M layer down, and after that's pressed, I remove the plastic backing, and then I get to where I'm going to position the thermofilm directly over top. Now, one thing I want you to notice here, creating two-color designs isn't that complicated. It's really one of the most asked questions. How do I do two colors? How do I line everything up? How does it stay in registration? Well, it's simple. Everything is programmed in your art software. It's cut in registration, and basically when you heat press it down, it should line up perfectly. The only time you get in a jam is when you heat press the bottom layer, possibly for too long. More than what's recommended, that bottom layer will start to shrink up underneath the heat, and then it'll become very difficult to align the foreground layer. But if you just tack that base layer down and position the foreground layer, you see how it lines up perfectly with the offset that we've designed in the software program. I'll show you how to do that momentarily. But I'm going to lay it directly over top. The mylar or plastic backing covers both materials, so I don't need to use a cover sheet unless I want to. And then I heat press the thermofilm down. After I complete the full application, I simply peel away the backing material. And let's take a look at how this finished result looks. There's my complete thermofilm on 3M Reflective, so it looks great in the daytime, but really the selling point of reflective material is what it looks like when you shine light on it. I think this particular combination would sell particularly well for any types of sports venue where the games are played at night. It doesn't necessarily have to be outside. Imagine a fan wearing this garment representing their favorite player, and then walking out of even a basketball game from an indoor arena out into the parking lot. As they're walking through the parking lot, the reflective material will look really cool when headlights are shining on it from cars pulling out. Likewise, I could use reflective as a perfect material for under the Friday night lights for football jerseys. It meets the regulations. There's nothing that gives you a lot of different colors and gradients that may be in conflict with high school rules. You can use reflective material as a background, pick whatever material you want, apply it as a foreground, and let's take a look at how it would look under the Friday night lights. You get a cool reflective result, and it's just a really nice look. If you follow college athletics, Boise State, who's actually a pretty good team, I think they're definitely ranked top 10. They may even be top 5 now, but they utilize reflective materials on their jerseys for some different accents. So I'm just going to, I see some questions rolling in, so I'm going to open up the panel here so I can see it a little more clearly. Okay. Okay, what happens if you don't preheat your garment enough? Could this happen if you don't preheat your garment enough? I assume that question was in reference to the aligning the numbers, because I see, Tim, you typed another comment afterwards. Something I didn't cover in that demo is you definitely want to preheat the garment. So you preheat the garment even before applying the base layer number. But preheating of the garment really won't affect the shrinking or not shrinking of the background layer, since the preheating of the garment is really just to remove the moisture and wrinkles from the garment, and it helps improve adhesion of any heat transfer film because it gets the moisture, any chemicals burned off of the garment, so you have a nice application surface. Okay, continuing right along here. Let's talk about art setup. We have 8 different looks that I'm going to show you today. We've just covered 1 so far, so a lot more to cover. But I want to talk about art setup and how do we create that outline in our art program. In order to do that, I'm just going to pull up a basic Corel Draw blank screen here, and I'm going to walk you through a quick workflow in Corel. You will be able to watch the recording of this webinar on greatgarmentgraphics.com. So I'm going to move pretty fast. It's not necessary to handwrite out all the notes here because it will be on the recording. So I'm just going to select my text tool, and let's do something simple like type in number 23. I'm going to change it here to a font that you can see, and I'll blow that up. So right now, you'll notice when I type my number and my name combo, it's reading as a font in Corel. The first thing I need to do is convert that to an object, not a font. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to Arrange, and I'm going to click on Convert to Curves. At this point, you see I can no longer change it to a different font. So select the font you want, convert it to curves. At this point, the next thing I want to do is set up the sizing according to what I want. So if I want to put, let's say, a 8-inch number on the front of a t-shirt, I'm going to type in the height of 8-inch. I have this box checked so it scales the width proportionally, and I'm going to press the Enter key on my keyboard. Now I have an 8-inch number. What I want you to do is I want to show you the number through the eyes of a cutter. Here's exactly what a cutter sees. If I go to View and Wireframe, I see all of the line art in the design, because the color that you set up in the software doesn't really matter. It's the color that you load into the vinyl cutter to cut. The next thing that I need to do now, I have a single color number. I need to put an outline on it. In order to do that, I'm going to click the Effects button, and I'm going to click on Contour. You'll see a menu pop up on the right-hand side of my screen here, and I have the option, do I want to contour or do I want to create an outline of this number to the inside of the original lines or to the outside? What I recommend is always doing to the outside, because if you do to the inside, you're going to get some disproportionate numbers, and it's not going to really look like the original number you created. So I'll do outside, and then you can type the offset to whatever you want. So 0.25 is going to be like a 1/4 of an inch offset. That's basically going to be the amount of an outline that it's going to do. It's going to be the amount that I see of the background number. So I'll click Apply. And it's very simple. Now I've created an outline. The next thing I need to do in order to send this to the cutter, I need to separate these two pieces, because when you see when I kind of drag and move this around, there's no way for me just to grab one single layer unless I break those layers apart. So I'll go up to Arrange with the object selected, and I'm going to break the contour group apart. Now I'll simply click off my number onto some blank space on the page, and I'll be able to go back in, just select the inside set of numbering, and I'll be able to drag that away. Zoom out here so you can see a little bit better. You can see how I now have a set of background numbers and I have a set of foreground numbers. What I would basically do is I would create all my foreground numbers and all my background numbers. I'll cut my foreground numbers, and I'm going to hit the plus sign to create another page, and I'm going to set up another page. And I'm basically going to have all my foreground numbers. I'll rename the page as foreground, black, thermofilm. Set up all of those on that particular page, and I'll set up all my backgrounds for the 3M reflective material on another page. At that point, I'm able to export the art out of Corel once I finish completing it and send it over to my cutter with the correct material loaded for the art that I've created. So that's where we get to the step in the production process where everything's weeded and separated. Of course, I do need to mirror the artwork before I send it for heat transfer vinyl, and then I combine it in layers over at the heat press. Make sense? Any questions? Kathy has a question. Can you heat press all of the different materials on each other, thermofilm on thermofilm? That's a good question. And yes, you can use thermofilm on thermofilm, of course, but really you want to look at the materials and see if they're polyurethane based. Polyurethane materials typically layer very well. So if you go to our website and you click on the tech specs of the material, it will tell you right in the tech specs if it's a polyurethane composition. If the material layer, which is what we're showing in this graphic here, is a polyurethane composition, you can typically combine those as foreground and background. There are specific materials that we'll go through later, such as hologram and glitter flake. Those are the two I can think of. Metallic 2, those are the ones off the top of my head that you can only use as a foreground and not a background due to the face surface of the material won't accept another material and stay durable. Okay, back to the presentation here. So art setup, that's basically how you create a two-color number. You can get fancier and you'll see some fancier designs, but you create two separate set of cut lines, break them apart, and send them to the cutter independently. With that in mind, let's take a look at another combo here. The last design we did thermofilm on top of 3M reflective. Another idea I'd like to give you is using thermofilm on top of glow-in-the-dark heat transfer film. You can get all these products from Stahls, but simply glow-in-the-dark looks like white in the daytime, and of course when you turn out the lights or they wear this out after the game, then it glows. And you can see all we're seeing is the glow outline because this is a pitch black room and you can't even hardly make out that that's a red thermofilm foreground. So this is a pretty cool look, and it's some added value to the garment. So don't give the customer boring white. Say I can upgrade you to glow in the dark for this much, $5, whatever it is. Let's keep rolling through some additional looks. Here is a unique product. Once again, I'm using glow-in-the-dark as the background, which I tend to like a lot as a background, as a trending product, especially for Halloween. So if you can get any sales this week, go for it. I'm using a product called Airflow on top. Now, Airflow is a unique product. It's great for performance fabrics when you use it on its own. And I'll show you a good look at this. You can see how the blue layer has like perforated holes or like mesh holes throughout the material. So imagine if I just press Airflow onto a moisture-wicking garment without a background layer. It gives the garment improved breathability. But I can also use the mesh effect that Airflow gives me, press it on top of a glow-in-the-dark material, and it gives me another really cool effect for two-color numbering. Likewise, I can use the Airflow material on top of the reflective. Glow-in-the-dark and 3M reflective make two great background products for unique looks. In this case, you see Airflow on top of 3M reflective. Once again, we've used the technique of cutting a design out, and it almost looks like a three-color design since we're letting the black t-shirt show completely through both materials. It's all in the art setup. Here's a clean look at that design so you can see what it looks like in the daytime. Press this onto a hoodie, a t-shirt, whatever, but use the player's number and use the team name, and all of a sudden we have a line of warm-up shirts or fan shirts that are easy to market and sell. You guys are quiet. No, man, questions rolling through. Please feel free to type them if they come up. Now, we still have some additional looks so far. We've went through 4 different looks. There's 4 to go. But I want to talk for a moment about selling these sorts of products. If you joined us, I think it's been a couple weeks ago now, we had a presentation called The Art of the Upsell. And if I go over to Great Garment Graphics and click on a handy little button, Archived Webinars, you'll get a list of previously recorded webinars. I'll click on the 2011 webinars, and I'll show you exactly where this presentation is located. It's called Dynamite Sales Strategies, The Art of the Upsell. It's from October 6th. Can't cover it all today, but if you watch this particular webinar, it will show you how to take a customer from a basic look to an upgraded look, and how to upsell customers from a basic graphic to something a little more expensive, something that you make a little more profit on. And if you watch this webinar, I think you'll get a lot of ideas on how to take someone from a basic fan shirt or a basic numbering style into something a little more trendy, a little more 2011 or 2012. So I'd suggest watching that. I'll show you one particular photo from that webinar, which is a handy little tool. If you come up with some special effects that you like, if you kind of create a tiered system where you allow customers to upgrade that basic film, that basic color, to an electric color, which is what we see on top for a certain price, so maybe that price is 25% more than the list price that you're selling the garment. And then maybe you create a look of an ultimate upgrade, or kind of the top level, and you show glow-in-the-dark or bling effects like Glitter Flake there, and you put a 50% upcharge on it. But equip your sales folks or your folks working the counter that interact with customers and write orders with a t-shirt or some sort of tool like this, showing all the different effects that you can offer somebody. These are just the swatch books that we provide to you for free. If you call into our customer service line, you can get a swatch book for various different materials, and I just took the chain out of the swatch book and pressed them down onto a shirt all together. So Glitter Flake that you saw in that last slide is one of the hottest selling special effect materials that we have out. If you don't try any other material in the presentation today, I would encourage you to order some Glitter Flake material, because when you show this, you will sell it. And it sells like hotcakes, and you're going to make a lot of money off of Glitter Flake, I promise you. I will tell you, if you've only used thermofilm in the past, for instance, if you haven't ventured into special effects at all, Glitter Flake is a little more difficult to weed than a standard heat transfer film. Also, you can sell it at a higher price than a standard heat transfer film, so you're going to have a little more in the way of labor dollars and time. So I just don't want to try to fool anybody. There's a little more time with certain special effects, but I think the results speak for themselves with what you're seeing here. So this could easily be a design on the front of a shirt on its own, where we have Glitter Flake inside of an electric outline. Electric is one of those special effects that may be popular for guys or girls, because it's just like a metallic foil look. But this is actually part of a larger design that I'm going to show you here. On this shirt, where you can see we can put Glitter Flake directly on top of electric for a great look, or we can leave some white space as an outline here. And basically that allows us to create a 3-color look with only using 2 colors of film by letting the garment show through. Okay. If we step down Glitter Flake, if you say, Glitter Flake, I don't want to use it, I'd rather just use stuff that my employees like and that's easy to weed and use, you may try our Cadcut Glitter. Our standard glitter is a different look altogether. You can see here how it actually has a silver glitter material that's kind of inside a base color of film. So in this case, we have a 2-color combo with pink glitter on top of blue glitter, and you see this, the silver glitter sparkles throughout the design. This is a smooth surface. It's not as high density of a glitter, but it's very easy to use, and this is a good look for somebody that doesn't want as vibrant of a result. And here's the combination that we used for this. Once again, very easy and simple to set up in the art process. Very easy and simple to apply. Question just rolled in a second ago on how does the glitter hold up. It's very durable. This particular glitter is lab certified for the life of the garment, and which is 50 wash cycles. And the glitter flake, it's not on the top of my head, but let me look it up here. If I go to the Cadcut Direct page and go down to my glitter flake material, click on Go, we can go on the tech specs, and you can see we're lab certifying it for 10 cycles. I would feel confident saying that the glitter flake is going to last much longer than that. I have some garments that I've actually made that we've washed without a lot of issues, and we have many customers using it. You can see this glitter flake is a PVC composition. So what does that tell you? That means it's not a polyurethane. So yes, I can use it as a foreground on top of another material, but I can't put another material over it. You can see it's quite thick. It's about 325 microns, which is actually preferred in this case because you get a lot of thickness of that glitter material and it feels really nice on a garment. Yes, you looked away for a second. Is that glitter directly on glitter? And the answer is yes. This is our standard glitter directly on glitter. And a second ago we also showed, there's a close-up view of it. And here's glitter flake on top of electric. So those are two combinations that are possible. If you can't put it on top, how did you do the pink on the blue? Okay, so I don't want to confuse anybody. There's two glitter products we're looking at here. When you go to our website, I'm going to go to the main page. It's the easiest way to see this. The heat transfer material. And they're listed in alphabetical order currently, so it would be really easy to see it side by side. We have the glitter material, which is able to be layered. It's a smooth surface glitter material. It doesn't have a rough textured surface. This you can use as a background or foreground. Then we have the glitter flake, which is more of a textured glitter. This can only be used as a foreground. Good question, Kathleen. Do you have gold glitter flake in stock? We now have all glitter flake colors in stock as of this moment that I'm saying it, or actually as of an hour ago when I checked. Like I said, this is a hot seller. So we've been trying to keep up with manufacturing and inventory levels. But as of right now, all glitter flake colors are in stock. And I'm going to give you a special offer at the end of the webinar that will span across all these special effects. So don't order quite yet. Wait about 15 minutes. Okay. Let's keep moving through here. We talked a little bit about electric material. We used it as the background to that glitter flake. Here's a close-up of electric red on top of our electric prism color, which is a silver base. It's almost like a diamond plate finish. And I'll zoom out on that one. And you can see how we've used this. I think the electric definitely appeals to both sexes, which I think is important. Glitter materials obviously are primarily female demographic, whereas electric materials can kind of span across to both sexes, so it's a really versatile product to keep in stock. It's one of the most durable foil results that you can achieve with any type of garment decorating. And so I would recommend stocking some fashion film electric material and showing two color combinations with that, and also single color looks look great with this material as well. Okay. I feel like it's a downward spiral on this glitter conversation. So just another question roll in. Glitter flake cannot go over glitter flake, right? That is correct. You cannot put glitter flake on top of glitter flake because nothing can go on top of glitter flake. So like in the photo I showed glitter flake on top of electric, that's fine. But I can't put anything at all directly over top of glitter flake. And the last look that I want to show you before we get into some costing and selling prices is neon material. And I don't think the picture really does this justice, at least not on my screen here, because this design and this garment is very bright, and neon colors are trending in retail a lot. So we're seeing a lot of growth in neon materials, and the good news is it has the same low base price as the standard materials. In this case, we use Premium Plus Neon in the color blue on top of neon pink. And we get a great result on this 1x1 rib knit tank, which is another great garment to merchandise to women or to moms. And Premium Plus has good stretchability to it, so it's the perfect product in neon to use for this particular garment. So this is another look I would consider showing. All in all, we have 8 looks today. I think you got to kind of pick your spots, but I don't think it would be a stretch to set up a display rack with 8 different looks for special effect numbering combinations. I think you'd see sales go up dramatically if you did that. Some people don't recommend the layering of neon colors. We've had success, and we do recommend it with the Premium Plus material. Tammy says, I had trouble cutting glitter flake. Is there a trick to that? It's definitely thicker. It's 320 some microns thick, so you're going to need to maybe extend the blade out by a half a turn, which should put it somewhere around 3/4 of a credit card's thickness. You should be able to cut it with a standard 45-degree blade, but if for some reason you're having a lot of issue, you can switch over to a 60-degree. But I haven't had trouble cutting it other than the downforce on the cutter needs to increase considerably. I think I cut glitter flake somewhere around 220 grams of downforce, and I wouldn't hesitate to use that when cutting the thicker materials. How long do you press the first color to tack it down? That varies based on the different materials, but for pretty much any of the products, I'm trying to go through the products in my head that I showed you today. So I showed you glow in the dark, airflow, thermofilm, Premium Plus, electric, 3M reflective. All of those can be tacked down for about 2 to 3 seconds, and depending on what's recommended, you can peel it hot right away, or in the case of Premium Plus, you may have to wait for it to cool down slightly before you can peel it. But usually keeping the base layer, basically you just want to get the film to stick to the garment without lifting up, and you want to be able to release that carrier backing as quickly as possible so you can get the second color on without any shrinking at all. So limit the exposure under heat and pressure. 2 to 3 seconds should be good. And then, start peeling at the corner first. If it starts to lift up, obviously you need a little bit more time to get it to adhere. Okay. Costing and pricing. So we talked a lot about different combinations. What does this cost to make? In order to do this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a piece of artwork. It's actually on my desktop here, so give me 1 second. This is the artwork that I had set up for all my different combinations. And I'll just do the glitter on glitter. I'm going to do a wireframe view. As you can see, the design's just black because I don't even select colors until I get to the cutter. But if I go to the wireframe view, let me separate this design out to my foreground and background. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a measurement of each layer. So I'm going to highlight this. I can see that this is approximately 10.5 by 6 is the actual material. So I'm going to do it at 10 3/4 by 6 1/4. I'm going to add a 1/4 inch for some waste and a weed border that I'm going to use around here in my production step. And then I'm going to select my other part of the design, and this one for a weed border I'm going to put it at about 11 by 9. And these are measurements that I'm going to use to help me calculate costs. And in order to calculate costs, I have those measurements written down. And I'm going to go over to a cost calculator sheet. that I can provide to you. In order to get this cost calculator sheet, we do a blog post after every webinar. I need to write the blog post still once we conclude, and I'll make sure to include a link to a survey that you can fill out, and after you fill out the survey, you get the cost calculator sheet. But basically on this cost calculator sheet, without going into a ton of detail on it, I've set up several different products here and the average landed cost per yard that it cost me as a business owner to get these into inventory, and also punched in the roll width. That's going to allow this formula or template workbook I've set up to calculate the cost of material that I'm going to use. Also, when you get this, you'll need to complete all the yellow highlighted fields. So you'll need to enter your shop's overhead percentage if you know that. If you don't, look at the helpful info tab for help, which is just a tab at the bottom here. And then you're going to want to put in your group order markup percentage for retail and for group orders so you can generate a selling price based on your rules for markup. You're also going to want to put a labor rate that you pay the guy or the lady heat pressing and the guy or the lady weeding. That way you can calculate labor into this thing. Now I have all my costs in the yellow fields highlighted. I'm going to save the workbook, and I'm going to proceed to the cost calculator tab. On the cost calculator tab, I need to once again complete all the highlighted fields. So total number of cut designs per garment. If I look back at my Corel file, I know I have one cut design here with this layer and another cut design on a second layer. So I'm going to fill that out. I have two layers. Design dimensions for placement 1. Placement 1 is going to be my background design or my larger design, and we know that one was 11 by 9. That's the measurement I just took. Design dimensions for placement 2 was 10 3/4 by 6 1/4. You fill that out for all the designs and the placements, depending on if you have foreground, background, or whatnot. Cost of the blank garment. So if I source that black T-shirt, let's say for $2.30, or I'm going to put it at $3 to overestimate a little bit. And then let's say we're selling this to a group of 12 people, and obviously the number will change for each one, but I'm going to charge for artwork separately, so 12 pieces in this order. Now the cost calculator is going to churn out results for each of the materials that I've set up on the business info tab. So if I look at my Cadcut Glitter and Glitter Flake section, since this material is 2 layers of glitter, I can see that it's going to cost me, let me get my highlighter here, it's going to cost me $2.25 in actual material costs for both of those designs, based on the averages that we've set up from the survey that you need to complete. 70 cents in heat press cost, $1.05 in weeding cost, that's based on my labor rates, $1.05 in overhead. My $3 garment cost is going to give me a total per piece cost of $8.05. The whole job, $8.05 times 12 pieces is $96.61. Now if I go down to the bottom here, I can see quote selling prices to customer is my last step. So if I'm selling to a group in 12 pieces and I want to put them into my group price structure, I'm going to sell it at $16.10 per piece. What is that based off of? That's based off of the business info tab where I put a 200% markup on that garment on the cost for a group order. Now the retail markup was 300%, so I'm going to sell it at $24.15. Obviously you can adjust, but this gives you a gauge. So regardless of what products that I combine or what products that I use, you can see my cost for this order is going to be somewhere between cost for this order is going to be somewhere between $7.79 and $10.59. So it gives you a pretty good idea of what it'll cost, whether you're using electric or thermal film or glitter flake or glow in the dark. But once again, you'll have to set all these materials up based on the ones that you want to source and offer, because all these fields are editable. And you can see, since there's only 5 fields that I've allowed you to set up for right now, I've just put an average landed cost. So I grouped electric and thermofilm together since they're similar costs and the same width. For my price calculations, I'm just using the Excel formulas that I've set up. on this spreadsheet. And like I said, if you fill out the survey that'll be in the blog post, you can get a copy of this spreadsheet for free. Questions on this? I know this is a lot of stuff, and it's almost a whole webinar in one on how to utilize this sheet. But maybe what I'll do is we'll do some sort of tutorial video on it so people can watch the video and learn how to use this for their business. All right. So that talks a little bit about costing and pricing. So we've hopefully we've inspired you with some looks. We've explained the workflow with the vinyl cutter. We've talked about how to figure out what it costs you to produce, how to put some sales numbers to it, and now we're at the point where we need to give you a special promotion to try to get some of this material in your shop if you don't already have it. And our special promotion today is the following. We actually have a couple of them based on the deals that we were running this month. One deal that existed before this webinar was just a promo code, which is SHIP October, SHIP OCT. So until October 31st, you can get free ground shipping on any order over $199. So you can enter this code when checking out on the stall site. So if you get quite a few rolls, you want to write that promo code down and use it when you check out to get free shipping. Also, the special from this webinar is a 10% off online special on all the effects that were presented today, not on thermofilm or the base material, but all the special effect materials. So right now, if you visit our website, Fashion Film Electric is at 10% off, Glow in the Dark is at 10% off, 3M Reflective, Airflow, Glitter, and Glitter Flake. So it's a great time to try to put together a stocking order for these products. Hop online. That expires October 28th, which is, I believe, Friday. So you need to put together your order. You can watch the webinar back, figure out what materials you want. But all the products are on the website. All the products are on the website where you can see a photo of them. And then if you click through to the product and you click on the View Color Chart tab, it'll bring up the colors available and give you a little swatch. So you can make decisions, and you'll see if when I add this 5-yard roll of Glitter Flake black to the cart, it calculates, slashes out the $60 price, and saves me 10% on that. This is all in addition to any trade discount that you get through stalls. Does the promo code apply for Canada too? That's a good question. I think it's U.S. only, but let me double check here. The free shipping promo. Continental U.S. only excludes equipment. So it's just a promo code that we are running, so apologies on that. But I wanted to make sure to share it since I saw it online here. Okay. So with that, I want to say the next webinar is November 3rd, and it's going to be given by Imprintables Warehouse. Capital expenditures for year-end tax savings, and you can log on to greatgarmentgraphics.com to see the full webinar schedule. Also, I'll be giving the next webinar in the series of Dynamite Sales Strategies at the beginning of November, and it's called Creating Prized Customers, so that one should be interesting for you to attend as well. And I'm going to go ahead and just zoom out on the screen here and take any questions that you folks may have. I'll glance back through some of the ones I may have missed, and feel free to type them in. We got about 5 minutes or so. The 10% off is just till the 28th of this month. Remember the generic video you created for our websites? I got a compliment on it just the other day. Oh, great. So we also created a YouTube video, which doesn't have any stalls branding on it, for special effects materials and different looks that you can utilize on your website that's available to you. how does your pricing compare and how quickly? Okay, the pricing on all of our materials are manufacturer direct, so I don't know if you source some of these special effects from current suppliers or ones that look similar. We should always present some sort of price advantage on the list price or with the online discount. In addition, with stalls, we have a trade discount program. So depending on the amount of business you do with us, you'll save anywhere from 3 to 6% on repeat orders. So if you do like $1,500 or more in annual business, you'll need to be on pace for that for 1 quarter. We'll put you into 3%, and I think the top level is 20 grand or more, get 6%. Also, we have a new program that gives 2-day UPS second-day air shipping as a free upgrade over ground. So basically you pay the ground price and you can have it in 2 days for the same price, which really helps people that are located a little further away from us, say in Maine or Florida or in Washington. What do you recommend for Lycra swimwear or nylon? The Premium Plus works pretty good on Lycra, which is a polyester-based product. For nylon stretch, I would do Gorilla Grip 2. If it's just a straight nylon without stretch, you could still use Gorilla Grip 2, or if it's like a football jersey nylon, you may use Thermo Grip. Yeah, the blog post for the cost calculator sheet, if you go to the Great Garment Graphics website and click on blog, I don't know if you know this, but you guys should really subscribe here by entering your email address in this box, because after every webinar, there is a blog post that goes up, and also on other days. And the blog post I need to write, I'll make sure you guys have videos on how we created all these garments today, and I'll also make sure you have a link to the survey that you'll need to fill out in order for me to email you this cost calculator sheet. The webinar should be available online by tomorrow, I hope. I use a 45-degree blade for almost every heat transfer film. I only use a 60-degree blade personally for flock and twill materials. Okay, well, it looks like the questions quit rolling through, so if you have any additional questions, you know how to get in touch with our team through the phone number or through the website. I'm also available by email. Thanks for attending today, and please stock up on special effects. I think they'll do well for you in sales. Take care.